All righty, let's keep this thing rolling right along for your next comedian. He came all the way from Washington, D.C. to be here. It's Zach Wilks.
How many of you all looking at me first thought, wait, is that the manager? Yeah. No, I'm obviously not the manager. This is just what happens to white guys in their 50s. Yeah, we crack hard. And I know there's a lot, if there are any younger white guys here, I know it's scary, but don't worry. Because when you get into your 50s, you still get ass. It's just different. It's called a colonoscopy. Let me tell you, colonoscopy's not as bad. I mean, I had one recently. It's actually can be kind of fun because they give you some really good drugs. I mean, I didn't feel anything. Afterwards, the doctor's like, "Did you feel anything?" I said, "No, man. You could have run a train on my ass." Doctor said, "I know," as he was putting his pants back on. I'm going to go back as soon as my insurance will cover it again. It was worth it for the nap, yeah. Because they give you this stuff. You give you this stuff called propofol. You all know this, propofol? Yeah. For those of you not, the stuff that it's the stuff that killed Michael Jackson. And they asked me, they said, "Hey, there's some risk to this. Are you okay?" And I said, "Hey, oh yeah, make mine a double." I am perfectly ready for my last words to be, and to moonwalk into heaven, you know? Because if there's anybody else over 50, you'll agree with me. When you get to be over 50, you don't fear death anymore. You just don't want it to hurt. So the other thing about your 50s is that you get a lot more free time because you stop paying attention to 20-something white women. Because when you're in your 20s, you have your ability to put up with a huge amount of bullshit just for the slightest chance of sex. You'll be like, so then I went to my spin class, and then I was looking at my horoscope, and your brain is like, I'm out of here. And meanwhile, your dick is like, no, man, stay with me. Just look at her boobs, real quick. You're like, okay, so what else was on TMZ? Yeah. But when you get to be in your 50s, you realize something important. I realize I'm not rich. Nobody wants to fuck this. So my dating radar completely shifts. So now if there's a woman who's like, yeah, the music was a lot better in the 80s, and my ex is trying to screw me on child support, I'm like, hey, how you doing? And yeah, if she recognized that reference, I really got a shot. The really scary thing is, yeah, I am in my 50s, but I have a daughter who's just turned 7. Yeah, my wife and I can normally... when you go to fertility clinics are just like casinos. They love to take your money and tell you got a chance. But when my wife and I walked in, they looked at us like, are you fucking kidding me? You know, like, why don't you just adopt a dog? So we weren't able to do IVF. We used some alternative things. We used some alternative treatments and chemicals. It was called box wine and Netflix. Apparently worked out pretty well because we have a beautiful daughter. But anybody else here raised small kids? Yeah. And one thing is that if you have kids, their ability to hear the same story over and over and over, to the point when I'm reading my daughter bedtime stories, I use celebrity voices to try and make it more interesting. Like Al Pacino, like, Frog and Toad were the best of friends. Because Frog had a great ass and Toad's head was way up it. Or if you read Dr. Seuss, you can't help but slip into Christopher Walken. Like, you know, I do not like green eggs and ham. Sam I am. I do not like them on a boat. I do not like them with a goat. I do not like them with a bass. I do not like them with a gold watch shoved up my ass. And yeah, when I get really frustrated and desperate, yeah, I resort to Samuel L. Jackson, and that works real well with Dr. Seuss. You know, I speak for the trees, motherfucker. I just warn you, don't read Goodnight Moon in a Samuel L. Jackson voice, because that rapidly becomes a Quentin Tarantino movie, just without all the foot stuff and the N-word. So yeah. All right, thank you all very much.
for him one more time. Looking like a substitute teacher that definitely doesn't touch kids.